Here with another Sun and Fun at Home Edition performer profile. First, the thank you to everyone who keeps sharing these lives or creating watch parties. Click on that button, share it with your friends, join in the conversation. We love it. I want to do the free stuff first. We always give things away when we do these. We've been giving away 4 tickets to Sun and Fun 2021, as well as a t-shirt. All you have to do is drop a comment about where you're watching from, and we pick those folks at random. Congratulations to Conrad Zotz, by the way, for winning the t-shirt, as well as 4 tickets going to Leon Rosario. So congratulations to you guys. More giveaways coming up. Just let us know where you're watching from in the comments. And by the way, Maddie from Space Camp on Instagram is the winner of our Geico Sky Typer. She will see aim high typed in the sky, and the Geico Sky Typers will take a photograph of that when they do it. Each letter as tall as the Empire State Building, and we'll be sure to send it to her. So thank you for everyone for participating in the conversation on our social media channels. I am just getting my chat up and running, so let me know what questions you have for our special guest coming up. But first, let's bring in Greg Gibson. Mr. Gibson with Sun and Fun, do me a favor, let everyone know why we are doing this. What is the purpose of the Sun and Fun at Home Edition?
Steph, hey, how you doing? Hi, everybody. Glad to have you back with us again. The Sun and Fun Home Edition is our thank you to everyone that couldn't join us here in beautiful Lakeland, Florida, the Lakeland International Airport for the annual Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo. We're trying our best to take 46 years of fantastic history, put that online for you, give you some up close and personal with some great people like we've done so far. We've got our friend Kevin Coleman here that's going to talk to us here in just a little bit. Right now I'm in the fantastic Lakeland Aero Club. You can see a couple of their aircraft right here in the background. We're going to talk to one of the Lakeland Aero Club members here in just a little bit. But it's all part of the Aerospace Center for Excellence. Everything we do here supports the next generation of aerospace professionals. So we're really looking forward to showing some of that off and also giving you some entertainment and see what all we can make out of it. So Steph, back to you.
Hey, my absolute pleasure. And we do, speaking of the future, have someone who will be joining us a little bit later as a special guest with some questions for the Mr. Kevin Coleman. Let's bring him into the discussion right now. Hey, Kevin, how are you and where are you joining us from?
I'm good. I hope everybody's well and safe and staying sane. I'm here at my headquarters in Shreveport, Louisiana, inside my hangar. You can see we got the Red Bull BO-105 helicopter and my aerobatic airplane right here. So hope everybody's well and safe, and thanks for having me.
Wait, you have the absolute coolest sunglasses I have ever seen. And in the reflection of those sunglasses, I can see some pretty cool airplanes also on the flip side. Give me a quick tour of your hangar. Let's see what you got going on there.
Yeah, just quickly, obviously we have Aaron Fitzgerald's BO-105, the Red Bull aerobatic helicopter, and then obviously my aerobatic airplane. We have Rob Holland's MXS here right now. That's my 2-seat extra 300L. And then finally, my F-33C aerobatic Bonanza that I also fly air shows in.
I have such envy. Like I'm actually like laughing. Like I just look at that and I'm like, your hangar is ridiculous in the best possible way. So thank you for giving us that tour. I have to ask you about some of your favorite Sun and Fun experiences and memories. Take us back. What are some of the things you've done there that you've really enjoyed?
Yeah, you know, my story is a little bit different because I grew up in an aerobatic family. I grew up in an air show family. So as a child, I was going to Sun and Fun, and you know, I've been lucky enough to be invited to fly there pretty much every year that I've been flying air shows. I was 19. So, you know, Sun and Fun's always been a great event, and you know, obviously flying the show. And the year that we did the Red Bull Air Race demo, I got to announce with Nick Fellows, which was very cool and probably one of the biggest highlights of my career so far at Sun and Fun.
We have all kinds of people checking in, actually, Kevin, from all over the country. We've got Texas, we've got Denver, Colorado. Hello to Jamie watching from Denver, as well as a lot of folks in Florida. I want to talk about that experience with Nick Fellows. But first, let's just take a minute and roll a little bit of the video of you. This was your Sun and Fun debut as an announcer. So let's all take a listen for a second.
Box is Kevin Coleman, one of America's rising stars in the Challenger class of the Red Bull Air Race. And as you can see, our Air Gators are just about complete with the course where we will race Kirby Chambliss against Michael Goulian. Now let's quickly bring in our race expert here. This is Kevin Coleman to my right. He is one of the rising stars, youngest pilots, 25 years of age. Kevin, the first thing we must tell them is that they enter at 200 knots 230 miles per hour, but these turns are not easy.
Yeah, so Michael and Kirby will be coming through the start gate right at 200. You don't want to be at 201 because that'll be a 1 second penalty. They'll be right at 200 and going through the gates for you. And this is the Red Bull Air Race demo, but you can bet these guys want to win for you at Sun and Fun.
Now at the Red Bull Air Race, the race director.
Before I bring
here,
Greg Gibson back into the conversation to give you some grief, Kevin, I have to tell you that Karen Goulian in the chat, by the way, says hello, not giving you any grief, although I anticipate that some of your other Airshow friends will probably drop in on the chat and give you a hard time, and I will be sure to pass that along. Greg Gibson, join in the conversation. You distinctly remember the Nick Fellows Sun and Fun Red Bull Air Race announcing demo.
I did. You know, I'd never heard Kevin announce before. You know, I was standing there. I was actually on the podium, and I'm thinking, well, I've seen this dude fly. He can fly the wings off an airplane, but standing there with a microphone in his hand was a new deal. I was ready to give him a bunch of crap, and all of a sudden there he is just killing it. You know, he's up there sounding like he's done this before. I'm like, now hold on a second. I've got the great ones up there. We got Nick Fellows, we got Rob Ryder, we got Larry Strain, we got all these guys up there that have all this experience with this stuff, and here comes this guy that I know to be an aerobatic pilot, the Red Bull Air Racer, and all of a sudden he's killing it as an announcer. So it's a multi-talented dude there. You got skills I didn't know you had.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So, Kevin, you told me earlier, and I want to make sure I get it right, you used to have a gig as an air show announcer. The Sun and Fun was not your first rodeo.
Yeah, I grew up, like I said, in an air show family. My older brother flew air shows, and whenever he was flying air shows, I would announce for him. So I started announcing when I was 12, and pretty much announced all through his career until I started my own air show career. So, yeah, I had a little bit of experience, which definitely paid off. But, man, I tell you, those guys up there that are talking, like you said, Nick Fellows, Rob Ryder, and all those guys, they do an outstanding job, and it's not an easy job to do. So I'd much rather be in the airplane. It's a lot easier than standing up there and announcing.
You say that, but your skills are super impressive. So from being an aerobatic pilot who flies aerobatics at Sun and Fun and other air shows to being a racer, basically with the Red Bull circuit, I want you to take me back to your very first race in the Challenger class. That was in Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah, Abu Dhabi 2016 was my first Red Bull Air Race. It was the start of our season, the start of my rookie season. Had a great time. The Red Bull Air Race is something I've dreamed about since it started in 2003 when I was 13. And, Michael Goulian and Kirby Chambliss have been my lifetime heroes as a kid. Those are the guys I looked up to. And so to be there with those guys and, having both of them support me and help me all along the way made my Red Bull Air Race career a lot easier. So right out the bat in my first race, we finished second. I was fastest in a couple of the practices, and that was just the start to what I'm happy with as a career in the Red Bull Air Race.
Yeah, without a doubt. I do love that you talk about the guys as being mentors. And so before we sort of switch gears and go through some of the folks most important to you in your life, I do have to ask, what kind of grief do you get from Goulian and Kirby and those guys when you say, like, yeah, man, when I was a little kid, you were my hero? That's probably has to go over well.
Yeah, I think it bothers Kirby a little more than it does Michael, but we like to joke and, all the interviews I do and when I talk about those guys and literally being, heroes of mine as a young child, 3, 4, 5 years old. They've both been great to me. And for sure, without those guys, I wouldn't be where I am in my air show career or my Red Bull Air Race career. So I owe those guys a lot of gratitude, and I'm in debt to them forever for, helping me get the opportunities that I've had so far. So it's, it's very cool that people that were my heroes have become my friends and my mentors and people that I do stuff with outside of flying. So it's very surreal and, something that I've tried not to take for granted.
Absolutely. Hey, just really quickly, for those of you just joining us on the live stream, if you would consider sharing this live stream or creating a watch party, we will also love to pass along your comments in real time. Marty Miller saying they're watching from New York, and Marty already got the hotel for next year, already in preparation for 2021, coming to Sun and Fun. So we're really happy. Lights, by the way, is there, and Nancy, Lights' wife, is watching. So with a brand new grandson, which I think is great. We love to make you a part of the conversation here in the chat, and you can see the Sun and Fun website on the screen, as well as the text to give number. If you're in a place to do that, and we understand not everybody is, we're really grateful for your support as we go to great lengths to make sure that we can sort of inspire the next generation. Let's talk a little bit about inspiring that next generation. I have some photos, Kevin, and I want you just to tell me a little bit about the role each of these individuals played in your success, since you really talked about how it took mentors and a support foundation to bring you up. Let's start with Marion Cole. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this photo on the screen is myself. I think I'm about 6 months old there with Marion Cole. And those of you who don't know who Marion is, for a long time, he was the Sean Tuckers, the Kirby Chamblisses, the Michael Goulians of the airshow world. And for him, he taught me how to fly. He started teaching me aerobatics when I was 10 years old. And for sure, without his mentorship and his space in my life, I would not have had the opportunities to work with the people that I've already talked about, like Goulian and Kirby and a couple others that we're going to talk about coming up. But yeah, I mean, just all around great person, really took me under his wing. And it would be, I explain this to people, that if you're any kind of a motorsport fan, or if you're a NASCAR fan, it would be like Richard Petty or Dale Earnhardt Sr. taking a young kid under their wing and showing them everything they know. So to me, when I was growing up, it was just Uncle Marion, and I didn't really understand at the time exactly what he meant to aviation and specifically aerobatics. But we'd be walking around Oshkosh and Sun and Fun and places like that, and people would be stopping and talking to him, and I was just trying to go see stuff. So at the time, I didn't really understand, but now that I'm older, I've become more aware of who he is and what he means to aviation. And for sure, without the skills that he gave me starting as a young child, I would not be able to do the things that I do today.
Tell me a little bit about Bobby Yunkin.
Yeah, so this picture is my brother's there in the camouflage hat next to Bobby, and this was my brother's first air show in his pits. That's his pits in the background. That's me as a young child next to my dad. I think I was 10 or 11 there. And, Bobby Yunkin is somebody that I looked up to my whole life. Marion had a lot of respect for Bobby. And just by seeing him have that much respect for Bobby Yunkin made me have that much respect for Bobby. And he was always just nice to me as a child. Just would let me climb all over Sampson and in and out of the Learjet and in and out of the beach and pretty much everything he was doing. So, unfortunately, Bobby passed away before I really got going in my airshow career. So I never got to fly an airshow with him, but it's one of the people that I've looked up to my entire life and really respect what he can do in an airplane, because it was always impressive to me that he could fly Sampson or fly Decathlon or fly the beach or fly the Learjet, just get in and out of every airplane and be amazing at all of them. So I think that's a skill that not a lot of people have, and probably the only person right now that has that kind of skill would be David Martin, who I'm also a big fan of and really respect because of that.
One of the other mentors of yours who is very well known still in the airshow circuit is Sean Tucker. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Sean, that's myself and Sean and my older brother. I was probably 10 or 11 there too. Sean's been great to me. He really helped my brother with his airshow and aerobatic career. Whenever it's kind of funny, whenever my brother got to a point where Marion was kind of getting older and couldn't really help him in the pits anymore, he's like, hey, you need to go fly with this guy, Sean Tucker. He's who can teach you how to fly a pit the way that you want to fly it. So my brother pretty much cold called Sean and went out to Salinas, California. And it's a long story. He had to beg him to fly with him because he was 17 or 18 at the time. And pretty much the only reason why he flew with him is because Marion wanted Sean to fly with my brother. And, so we became great friends. My brother and Sean are super close. And, Sean gave my brother a lot of opportunities, and Sean's really helped me with a lot of opportunities, especially my first year flying air shows. I followed him and Team Oracle around for the whole year and flew all the shows that he flew, and he mentored me that first year to make sure that I had the fundamentals and the skill set and understood everything about air shows that I could. So he's played a big role in my family's journey in aerobatics, specifically air show flying.
Well, speaking of someone who really knows how to teach the fundamentals and who is largely underrated in part because he's just kind of a quiet guy by nature, is Bill Stein. Tell me about him.
Yeah, Bill, I met Bill. I'd always heard about Bill because he was the kind of the West Coast guy in a pit. The same time my brother was kind of an East Coast guy in a pit. So they were flying the similar airplanes at similar time. And we'd always heard about Bill, but I'd never met him. And then when I went out to Sean's school at the Tatima Academy in King City, California, when I think I was 14 or 15, was the first time I met Bill. And that's how we got connected. And he started coaching me aerobatics when I was 15 and 16. I would take my decathlon to California and live in California for the summer. So like when most kids were going to the lake and hanging out with their friends after school or during the summertime when school was out, I was in California flying aerobatics. And that's really when I got to know Bill, and he helped me a lot with, he coached me a lot in my decathlon. And when I got in the extra, he flew with me a bunch. He would come here to Louisiana and pretty much has taught me how to design an airshow sequence. I've taken a lot of stuff from him from that. And he taught me formation aerobatics. By far, I think that he is the best formation aerobatic pilot on the planet. I have no doubt that he is. So, without him, I wouldn't have those skills. So he's played a huge part as well.
One of the guys that you love to spar with is Mike Goulian. And I know Karen's watching right now, so whatever you say, Mike is going to hear about. So let's talk a little bit about Mike. Yeah,
Michael has been nice to me. And Michael, I mean, he's nice to everybody. I mean, he's such a great person. And the first time I met Michael, I was 5 years old at Oshkosh. He had his extra 300S, which was the first year that he had it. He had just gotten it. The extra was kind of just now making its stride to be what it is. And I saw him at Oshkosh, and we took a picture beside his airplane. He took a picture with me because he's Michael and he does that, but also because Marion introduced this. And, when I saw Michael fly the extra, I knew that I wanted to fly an extra. So now that started my journey. So from the time I was 5 years old, I would tell everybody that I was going to be, flying air shows, flying aerobatics and an extra, and that was because of Michael. And then, I can't even tell. It would take years to tell you all the stuff that Michael's done for me and my career, and helped me get into the Red Bull Air Race and coached me aerobatic wise. And he's one of those people that, like I said earlier, he was a childhood hero, and now he's one of my friends, which is kind of surreal to think about. Somebody that I talk to on the phone once a week. We golf together and we do other things together. So, like I said, it would take forever to tell all the stories of stuff that Michael's done for me, but for sure has been one of the biggest impacts on my life and especially on my aerobatic career.
Okay, I have to tell you, Karen says, you are making us feel old. So that actually made me laugh out loud when I saw that. One of the guys, right before we did this interview, who you were texting back and forth with, and then one of the things that I do love about this is the back and forth. It's what makes this so much fun, is the friendship and the camaraderie, is Kirby Chambliss. Talk a little bit about him.
Yeah, Kirby's another one of those guys that I grew up watching and was always just amazed with his flying and his style and his precision. When I was a kid, when Kirby was really on top of his competition aerobatic game, we would fly to the National Aerobatic Championships because Marion Cole wanted to specifically go watch Kirby Chambliss fly competition aerobatics. So we'd load up and go over to Denison, where the U.S. National Aerobatic Championship used to be held, just to watch Kirby. And I can remember Marion having a lot of respect for how he could fly an airplane and how precise and how explosive he was. So I've taken a lot from Kirby and the aerobatic side, but when me and Kirby really became close was through the Red Bull Air Race. And from the very beginning, he took me, under his wing and let me be a part of his team with Team Chambliss. And, this picture here that you're seeing is me and Kirby. It had been quite a while since he had won a race and in the Red Bull Air Race. And this is in Budapest. And we, it was probably the best moment. I've won races myself in the Red Bull Air Race, but this is probably one of the biggest ones. Biggest memories I've had was being able to help Kirby get back on the podium, especially win a race. And we actually went back to back. He won that race and Kazan, Russia, the next race. So, Kirby, like Michael, has become one of my best friends. Talk to him all the time. He introduced me and my now wife. We've been married for 6 months. She worked for Kirby, so he's played a big role. Him and Kelly, just like Michael and Karen, and my wife's life and my life. So, just again, one of those people that was a childhood hero and is just a nice enough person, and I have enough respect for that. It's just crazy to think that these people would take time out of the day and help me achieve my goals.
That's awesome. That's, you know what? Kudos to all of them, because they have created in you a phenomenal career, a lot of outreach to even the next generation. So I have to tell you, Bud Goodman saying, yeah, I am old. And Julie Boatman Yates saying, another one of the good guys. She's loving all of these mentors in your life. But for Karen Goulian, my goal, Kevin, and I don't know if it's going to work or not, is to make you feel maybe a little bit old right now by showing you video of your very first aerobatic performance, Barksdale 2010. Do you remember that?
Wow.
Take me back.
It wasn't very good, but I had a good time. You know, I'd been flying the 2-seat extra for a couple years at that point. I was 19 here, and it's amazing to see how far I've come. And honestly, it was a good time. And I can think of all the people that were there. I know Greg Poe was there flying the air show. And so, you know, just an amazing experience. And I can't even explain to you how nervous I was at that moment. And, you know, thank goodness I've had people like Bill Stein and Michael Goulian and Kirby Chambliss help me, because we've come a long way from that time to now.
We do love the surprises when we do this. I have to ask you, we've discussed this with all the performers. What do you like to do in your downtime that's not aviation related? So by way of example, I learned that Chris C.T. Thomas with the Geico Skytypers, he plays the mandolin in addition to like 6,000 other instruments. And, you know, Larry Arkin is getting his helicopter rating. Okay, that's aviation related, but still, what do you do in your downtime?
Yeah, I play golf. I've gotten back into golf a little bit here lately. I live in Louisiana, so hunting and fishing is a big part of my life. Kirby got me into skydiving, which is kind of crazy. So
yes,
yeah, but I'd say for the most part at home, you know, I'm always outside, always in the woods, either hunting or fishing, doing stuff like that. But you know, aviation, for like most of us, is the biggest part of my life. Like I said, me and my wife have been married for 6 months now, so that's been fun. We got married in November, and yeah, that's been great. And getting to experience new things with her has really been awesome.
Congratulations to the both of you. I do have to ask, who's a better golfer, you or Mike Goulian?
I can still beat Michael. I don't play as much as he does, but I'm pretty sure that I used to beat him when I was 13, 14, 15. I can still beat him now.
Copy shot. Well done. Well done. Let's go ahead and bring Greg Gibson back into the conversation now. Greg is joined by a Lakeland Aero Club student, Kenny G, as I like to refer to him. And Kenny has some questions for you, Kevin. But first, Greg, go ahead and just explain to us a little bit about the importance of the Lakeland Aero Club to all the initiatives that Sun and Fun does.
Yeah, you bet, Steph. Kevin, this has been fantastic. You know, watching you come up and listening to how these people have influenced you and the way it's affected your career is exactly what the Aerospace Center for Excellence is all about when it comes to engaging, you know, and inspiring the next generation of aerospace professionals. So we've got the Lakeland Aero Club, but we like to say this is where the wings meet the air, where, you know, we have a lot of STEM initiatives through the Aerospace Center for Excellence, but young men and women like Kevin and like Sean earlier the other day, that we talked to, are all learning about all those skills right here. They're able to build the aircraft that you see behind me, and they actually maintain them. Flip around and show you one here real quick. This is a 41 Taylor craft that they've been building, and you know, the paint work, all the fabric work, all of the metal work, everything that you see there is done by these young men and women. So it's a real big educational process that they're able to get through mentorship and the other things that are very important, same as you. So we got Kenny here. Kenny and I've actually shared a cockpit a couple of times. It's worked out pretty good. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So he's got a couple of questions for you here. We're going to see what he can do to maybe impress you, and maybe he can stump you. Who knows?
So I wanted to ask, what, if you can pick one, was your favorite air show or aviation memory of all time?
Oh man, Kenny, that's a hard question. For me personally, as an airshow pilot, probably my first Oshkosh was the most special to me, because Oshkosh is it's the mega, it's the Super Bowl of aviation, of air shows, and I was lucky enough to get invited to do it my very first year flying air shows when I just turned 20, and they for some reason let me do it, and so that was probably the coolest thing ever. And then if it doesn't have anything to do with me, probably being at the Red Bull Air Race whenever Kirby won in Budapest was awesome, like I talked about earlier. And then when Mike Goulian won at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, those are by far the top three favorite things in aviation to this day. So I've just had amazing experiences, and I've tried not to take any of it for granted.
All right, Kenny, you have another question.
If you could, yeah. So if you have any advice for any young aviators who want to get into aerobatics at such a young age like you did, what do you have to say for them? How do you think that people can get into it as quickly as you did?
Yeah, I have a unique situation because my dad flew aerobatics and I just kind of grew up in it. Obviously, getting into flying is expensive, and getting into aerobatics is even more expensive. But I think the best advice that I could give you is just go out, and if you have a dream to fly aerobatics, just do whatever it takes to do it, and don't be afraid to ask people, like the people that I've talked about, Sean Tucker and Bill Stein and Michael Goulian and Kirby Chambliss, all these people. If you go up, and myself now, if you go up and ask them a question, they're going to help you. They're going to do everything they can to help you out and help you achieve what you want to achieve. So, I think the main thing is, just do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes for you to get to your goal, and work hard, and just don't be afraid to go up and ask these people for help, because they will help you.
Kenny, do you have other questions? Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be it.
All right. Then I thank you, by the way, for joining us. We do appreciate it. You're really why we're all doing this. And the text to give numbers on the screen, as well as the website, if you want to go check out all the content that the Sun and Fun at Home Edition folks have pulled together right now. As I look on the chat, I get a text message, and it's from Jeannie, who works at Sun and Fun, who wants me to be abundantly clear that, Kevin Coleman, you are wearing a Sun and Fun shirt. May we see the shirt so Jeannie knows?
I'm wearing my Sun and Fun shirt. I watched Michael Goulian's interview the other day, and he did not have his Sun and Fun shirt on. So I want to point that out, that he dropped the ball on that. The cool thing about these shirts is if you purchase one and you wear it to the 2021 Airshow, you'll be eligible for upgrades. You can get VIP tickets. I think Greg said you could possibly get some rides and some airplanes. So there'll be people at the Sun and Fun 2021 looking for people wearing the shirts with this badge on it, the greatest air show that never happened. And if you have that shirt on, you can get all kind of cool prizes. So it's for sure a great thing, and it's a very cool idea that they've come up with, the Sun and Fun.
You're totally a good announcer, by the way. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. And Jeannie thanks you as well. I'm sure my phone is blowing up right now. Hey, I've got a question coming in from Jeff on the chat. When you're at sort of the busiest of your season, when we're not dealing with these sorts of issues, how much time do you spend on the road versus how much time do you spend at home?
The last few years has been super busy because when we're not flying air shows, we're going all over the world to do the Red Bull Air Race. So, it's kind of, I'm gone away from home at least, more than half the year. If it's, doing sponsor stuff or doing Red Bull Air Race or doing air shows. People always ask the question about the air race, what's the hardest part about the air race? And by far, it's all the travel, because everywhere we go, there's only three the Americans doing it would be until this last year with Sammy, but we're always jet lagged. We're always going to Europe. We're always going to Asia. So the hardest part is getting there. You'll have 20, 25, sometimes 30 hours of travel time, and getting to these locations and then having enough time to acclimate yourself and get your body back healthy was one of the hardest parts.
Yeah, I think it's something that looks, as it should, glamorous, because it is. You are traveling and seeing the world. You're at peak performance doing something that so many people desire, but it takes a lot to get there. One of the other questions we had on the chat is, when you traveled, did you travel with a big entourage? Do you have a bunch of crew chiefs and this huge, staff of people, or is it pretty much just you and you kind of see everybody over there and they get you taken care of?
Yeah, in the air race, it's a little bit different because we travel with different teams. For my air show stuff, usually it's just me and one other person. I do a lot of my own maintenance, and a lot of the stuff that goes with the airplane, I do a lot of it. On the air race side, like I said earlier, I was lucky enough to be a part of Kirby's team, Team Chambliss. So there was a team of 3 people plus myself and Kirby. So the teams aren't as big as you think. Everybody has to pitch in and help put the airplane together, take the airplane apart. So there's a lot that goes into everything with a pretty small team in reality.
Well, are you doing your own maintenance on, your plane behind you? Because I see the cowlings off.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had an alternator come apart on me the other day, so I've got the alternator taken off. It's at the shop getting overhauled, getting everything done on that. So hopefully we'll have it back together pretty soon, and I'll start back training. And hopefully when this virus goes away, we'll start flying air shows again, and I'll be air show ready and like nothing ever happened.
As we take a look at some of the flying video that you have of your Extra 330 LX, I want to ask you a little bit about your family business, Two Bro Aviation, which is in Shreveport. Tell me, so it encompasses a lot of different aspects of aviation. Walk me through the family business.
Yeah, so we have a flight school here at the Shreveport Downtown Airport. We own the FBO, so we have fuel available. We have a flight school with two 172s with Garmin G5s and both of them with 430 watts. So we have fairly nice airplanes. We have a Redbird FMX simulator that we use a lot. Our students really love it, especially for instrument rating and getting instrument proficient. We use it quite a bit. We have a maintenance facility. We're a secure service center. So we have quite a bit going on here at the Shreveport Downtown Airport. We have an aerobatic box right here at the airport. So if you come in, there's no telling who you'll see flying in our box, myself or Rob Holland or Michael or sometimes the Red Bull helicopter. So there's always something going on at our airport.
Do me a favor, hold up the sign, to your point, hold up the sign that you made just in case someone starts to walk in, which I actually think is a genius idea. I need that here in the house. But
yeah,
just
so
in case.
I'm sitting in my hangar with the door open, doing this interview, and people come by and they want to see the airplanes are talking, all that kind of stuff. So I just made a little quick sign that says doing interview. So hopefully if somebody walks up, they'll see that and not disrupt us too much.
I think it's awesome too that you at Two Bro Aviation also brought Chip Bonner on board. So basically kept folks who were affiliated with the Red Bull Air Race and, making him your lead mechanic and helping to keep it in the family so people have good paying jobs and moving forward. That's awesome. I also want to touch base though on that Redbird FMX full motion sim. And the reason why is because a couple of years ago when I was at Sun and Fun, and we'll bring Greg back into the conversation for this, he told me that the kids at the Lakeland Aero Club actually have this full motion sim themselves. But Greg, the story behind how they got the sim is really interesting. Do you mind telling it for us? Oh, you're muted, Greg. It's classic Zoom, right?
All right, sorry about that. Yep, actually, we've got the star of that show is actually right here with me right now. We got Sean Stoltz, who we visited with on Friday. Sean is actually one of the technicians in his friend Katie that actually went to Redbird's facility in Texas and put that together. Sean, why don't you tell us about that?
Yes, so my freshman year, this was right before Sun and Fun 2017. Katie and I, whenever most students would go on their spring break, play video games, go to the beach, went to Redbird's facility in Austin, Texas, learned how to build this Redbird full motion flight simulator. Built it in 2 days, disassembled it, shipped it here, and built it here during Sun and Fun 2017. In 2 days, the oldest person that touched that while we were building it was 18 years old. We've got a real great video of all that. And then we used that for flight training for a couple of years, then decided we needed to expand our building. We expanded our building, and it's right through over here now. We took the simulator, disassembled it, had 4 or 5 more students come through, get that same certification that Katie and I got a couple of years back. So now we can keep that generation going of technicians for Redbird, working on our simulator, keeping everything in tip-top shape.
Well, it's very, very cool. Kevin, I imagine you really like having it as another sort of tool and an asset in your aviation bank.
Yeah, it's a total tool, especially for our flight school and for young people. All of our students, we've built the Redbird into our syllabuses. So the pre-solo, you get in the Redbird and use that, and then as well as the instrument rating. It's just so useful, especially for the instrument rating, to be able to pause and explain things and do all kind of different weather. So the Redbird's been a huge tool and a huge advantage that we have at our flight school. And just by having it, we've had students come in just because we have it. So really enjoy that thing. It's bulletproof. It always works. You turn it on, it goes on. There's hardly ever anything wrong with it. So it's been a very cool asset that we have.
The Lakeland Aero Club kids actually put me in the sim. I had never, flown anything. I wasn't even a student pilot at that point, and I managed to take off okay. We won't discuss what happened as I tried to land. That's a different story. Now I want to switch gears and just get to a question that we had earlier about what would be something, what's the one plane you wish you could fly, but that you just haven't had the opportunity to yet?
Oh, man. I've been lucky, and I've been able to fly pretty much everything I wanted to. Right now, the number one thing on my list is the new Extra. It's the Extra NG, which is the first monocoque all-carbon Extra. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope I get the opportunity to fly that sometime soon. I think I am. So really looking forward to that. But, I've never gotten to ride with the Blues or the Thunderbirds or anything. So I'd really like to get in something with an afterburner and just see what that's all about.
You would crush it. I have no doubt you have all the requisite skills to be able to pull that off. So I'll keep my fingers crossed for you that that's something that you get to do. Tell me a little bit about the difference between preparing for an aerobatic competition versus an air show performance.
For me, there's not a lot of difference because, this is one thing that Michael really helped me with when I first started is preparing mentally. So I pretty much prepare for an air show exactly like I would for a Red Bull Air Race or an aerobatic competition. Every little detail I want to have perfect. And if I'm not perfect, then I'm not happy. So, which pretty much tells you that I've never been happy with any of my flying. But I try to be as precise and as aggressive as I would in an aerobatic contest as I am in an air show. So that's one thing that I really looked up to for Michael as a kid. I really loved how he was very precise and threw all this competition aerobatics into an air show sequence. And the same thing with Kirby. They were always, it's very easy to get relaxed and sloppy is the only word I can use. It's easy to get sloppy in an air show because nobody's judging you. There's no critiquing. And one thing that I really enjoyed watching Michael and Kirby do as a child was still being precise and showing how good they really were in a airplane. So for me, it's pretty much the same. I walk through the sequence. I think about all the wind and the humidity, the temperature. I think about how I'm going to set the airplane up, where I want to put everything to make it look as perfect as it possibly can and try to go execute that plan every time.
Mindy has a question joining in the chat. Mindy wants to know, what's the next plane you would like to own?
Oh, that's easy. I'd like to own a G58 Baron. I'm a big Beechcraft fan. I have my family, my dad's always been a Beechcraft guy. We've always had Barons, stuff like that. I have a F-33C Bonanza now that I fly to and from shows. I fly it in shows. But for sure, the G58 Baron is a dream of mine, and hopefully one day I can figure out a way to own one of those.
Well, the chat has departed. The train has departed the rails because Mike Goulian wants to know when you're going to shave your beard. And now there's a vote. Apparently there's a poll that's taking place on our Facebook page. And the votes right now are split. And Karen will be the deciding factor if you shave or if you keep the beard, just so you know what's going on.
Okay, so Michael, I will shave my beard. Let's just preface this. Kirby's invited Michael for the last 3 or 4 years to come skydiving with us, just one time, do a tandem skydive. He always finds an excuse not to come. He'll be like, yeah, I'm buying airline tickets. Yeah, we're going to do it. And then finds an excuse not to come. And same thing happened this year. So I will shave my beard whenever Michael goes skydiving with me and Kirby. So I'm not worried about it. I'll get to keep my beard forever. He always comes up with an excuse not to jump out of an airplane.
This has been outstanding and funny and enlightening. Let's bring Greg back into the conversation. Greg, tell me a little bit about what we have coming up next Tuesday in our next performer profile.
I tell you, man, I'm going to bring Goulian down there myself if we can get that beard going. Because I know that's like your badge, dude. That's your thing. Yeah, we're looking. These have been fun. We're really enjoying doing these. So next week we're starting off with Paul and Caroline Doherty. Paul has been flying in the air show circuit. Now he's got his Kristen Eagle. And his daughter, Caroline, who's now at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, is just crushing it in the aerospace engineering program. She's also his announcer. So it's a great family act and a great, exposition of what, the same type of thing we're trying to do here. Family involvement, getting your parents behind you when it comes time to go into the aviation field of your choice. And she's just taken it to a different level. She's a pilot. She's working on several different ratings, and I'll let them tell you about it. But it's going to be great. We're really looking forward to having them. And we were going to have them here at Sun Fun this year for the first time, but just so I'll let them know right now, they're certainly invited for 2021, so we can give them their debut.
Well, that's fantastic. And thank you for giving us the update on that. Kevin Coleman, thank you for wearing the shirt like you were supposed to. Thank you for being an absolutely awesome guest. And again, guys, the text to give number on your screen, as well as the Fly SNF website, where you can learn all about the initiatives that we're doing. And thank you, everyone, for being a part of this. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. Lots of content on the website. And we will see you next Tuesday for another performer profile. Cheers.
All right. Bye, guys.